exactly what we do. But I do know we have at least one new organization, so I want to make sure we've got sort of a critical mass before we introduce them. Okay. Tell you what, Jen, there we go. I was going to say, as soon as we see Melissa pop on, we know I would never start without you, Melissa. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and get started. Oh, so as you're joining, if you would just pop in the chat your name, your organization, and the area that you work in, just knowing that we've got a lot of people in here who you might have similarities with. And then if you are on the call for the first time, give me a hand raise so that I know to give you a chance to introduce yourself out loud. Okay, Samantha, welcome to the Leadership Development Council.
Thanks, Alice. Hi, everybody. I am Sam Stone Rushes. I am one of the program directors over at the Center for Learning and Innovation at Northwell Health in New York. And I primarily oversee emerging and frontline leader development. And I actually presented about our programming at the NCHL All-Member Conference in November. So I'm really excited to be a part of this group and learning from everybody. Thank you.
Awesome. We're so happy to have you here. Karen.
Hi, sorry, I was having some audio issues. So I'm Karen Massey, and I'm really excited with Henry Ford Health System. Work very closely with Julie, who I know is on this call typically as well, and doing a lot of leadership development, a lot of organizational development, learning and development. So I'm the new director here. So just really excited to learn from everybody and have this group to go to and to share.
Awesome. Welcome. We're happy to have you here. And for those of you who have not been on yet, or if you haven't been often or recently, just want to encourage you to look for connections with each other. Some of the best value of this council is being able to find people who are working on similar challenges and connecting with them in between our meetings to be able to get a little bit more information like, hey, how are you thinking about this? Or I'm trying this. Have you tried something similar? So we have a lot of good success stories when we have those kinds of connections because you can go deeper and more specific than we sometimes do on our council calls. So even as I'm hearing the programs and work that each of you are doing, I know there are a couple of people here who are working on similar things. So if you just kind of look for those chances to reach out, that would be great. All right, Jen, would you like to welcome Jen in your new official role. So I think many of you have had a chance to get to know Jen, but do you want to give an introduction for this group and talk a little bit about what you'll be doing in your new position?
Absolutely. I've met some of you in person and with my role with the NCAF group, the administrative fellowships. So I've been with NCHL for almost 3 years and have taken over as the senior manager of leadership programs. So I'll be overseeing both the NCAF program and LENS operations. We are hiring for a program coordinator that'll kind of oversee some of the NCAF activities that I was previously looking into. So excited to be working with you all and hopefully moving some initiatives forward this year as we dive into our councils for the year. As always, you can email the LENS inbox, but I will put my email as well in the chat. So if you have any specific requests or questions, you can reach out to me directly, but you've probably gotten a bunch of emails from me already. So with that, the only NCHL business item that I have, I want to update everyone on is the IFC coaching certification. We do have that enrollment going on now. So that deadline to participate in that is the end of March, and the program will kick off starting in May. So if you have questions on that, information is on our website as well as linked into the agenda for today. So feel free to check that out. There is special pricing for Lens members, as many of you have participated in the past, but all the information can be found online. And if you have questions, again, feel free to reach out to me or Megan as well. We can answer any questions that you might have about coaching.
Awesome. And I'll just echo that is such a valuable program. I know a lot of us on the call have our own kind of internal coach development programs that we run, but even in between cohorts, we've been able to use this to advance someone who's ready for coaching, perhaps at a time that we're not running a large group of leaders through, and have found it works really, really well. Kim Carter, who's often on this call, is a recent graduate of that and is now working as one of our executive coaches in the system, and it's been really great to see the results of that. So for what it's worth, that's my testimonial on the coaching program. And I know Ohio Health has somebody going through the next one as well. Really valuable. And the healthcare specific lens, especially the piece around working with physicians, I think is something that sets this program apart. All right. And Megan, I see you're on. Is there anything else that you wanted to mention as far as NCHL business?
Thanks, Alice. Just welcome to Jen. I'm super excited for her to meet all of you. And my audio is potentially pretty bad. We had a massive snowstorm yesterday that cut internet. So apologies.
Hope you're staying warm.
We are. Thanks.
Okay. Well, I think unless this group, I wasn't on the December call, so unless this group talked about it then, the other thing that I would just mention before we start our discussion is we are moving this to being a monthly instead of a bi-monthly meeting. That we, as a steering committee, kind of looked at attendance and frequency of meetings and reconfigured some of the councils to meet the need. This council in particular really has a lot to talk about. And often we have more topics that we want to cover than we've had time to do. So we have moved it this year to a monthly meeting instead of an every other month. And with that, Jen and I have been sketching out a really cool arc for the year that will be a really nice mixture of outside speakers, case studies, success stories, presentations, small presentations from members of our own council to each other, and discussion. So we have the first few months of the year mapped out, and we want to fill the rest of the time in the year in part with things that this group is raising and that'll be relevant to the work that you're tackling. So with that in mind, both to plan the year and because it's January and this is what you do in January, we would like to spend some time talking about what's new in each of your scopes and spheres for 2024. So whatever you've got going on, I think it's valuable for this group to hear it, and would love to hear from several of you what new practices or programs you are looking at for 2024 or the areas of focus for leadership teams. So I dropped those prompts in the chat and would just look for a brave soul to start our discussion off, and I think we'll roll from there.
Hey, this is Alicia Brownfield, Medical University of South Carolina. I was first in the chat, so I'll go ahead and speak. And I apologize, I have a 12:30 meeting too, so I'll disappear. But some things that are new, we actually just had a discussion with the group. So we have several different programs here at the Medical University of South Carolina for leaders. One of them is called our Advanced Leadership Program, which is for high potentials. And once they go through a cohort program that's about 8 months, we've just been looking for a lot more ways. And that program, by the way, I believe is 4 years old now. So we've been looking for ways to continue to engage these leaders and embed them more in leadership discussions, both for their own experience with getting to see how leaders operate, but also the strategic leaders were really looking for ways to cascade information and have more of those two-way conversations with more of the frontline leaders. So we started a program called the Backstage Pass program. And at MUSC, we have a president's cabinet, which are our uppermost leaders across both the university and the health system. And they picked several of those very high-level strategic meetings and invited our program completers, the alumni, if you will, to go to these programs and have some observations and also some messages to cascade. So just one of the things that we're working on is how do we, okay, you finished the program, how do we continue to do development and hopefully elevate you to being the next senior leaders of our organization.
Awesome. Can't wait to hear about that as that goes.
So I can go next.
Great. Thanks, Shelley.
Yeah, I'm Shelley Sherman. I'm with Cincinnati Children's. Fairly new to this group. We are new members. So we are doing a number of things this year. We have engaged, we're beginning a partnership with CCL. We really want to create this robust catalog of resources for our leaders. And so in that, we will be creating a new leadership development pilot that we will look to scale with a larger swath of leaders in the next fiscal year, but we will start the pilot for this year. Secondary to that, we are also creating a second leadership essentials, because we know that there are a lot of new leaders, or sometimes just leaders that have been promoted into roles and we've never actually taught them the basics. And so we are creating a leadership essentials cohort that will start this year as well. We have also, we launched something called Leadership Mentor Circles in July, at the end of July. And effective March, we are looking to expand access to our mentoring, both group mentoring through additional leadership circles and leadership mentor circles and one-on-one mentoring for leaders. Then, of course, we're going to continue to, I shouldn't say of course, but we are going to continue to provide access to mentoring to broader groups of leaders, but then also individual contributors as well. And then next year, part of what is on our focus for next year is really defining our high potential program, because we have people that are high potentials that have been identified as such. But what we realized is we haven't really moved the needle in terms of their job readiness for promotion. So that is one of the things that we are planning for this year, but planning to launch next year.
Thanks, Shelley. Joe?
Yeah, I'll go. Shelley, I love Leadership Essentials. We were real original here and called ours Leadership 101. So Alice, we may need to look at that. And I like Essentials better than 101. Yeah. But anyway, so thanks, Shelley, for that. A couple things we're doing here at Ohio Health. We started a podcast late last year and continuing to build on it. So it's called Leading to Wellbeing. We have about 4 episodes up now and recording 5. There's 5 now. Oh, there are. We haven't communicated the other one. But the 5th one just updated this week with Alice and one of our other leaders here on ways to build trust. So Leading to Wellbeing, you can find it on Spotify or Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. But great, it's a great program. We're going to continue that throughout this year. The other program that I'm really looking to start for us is diving into our Manager Capability Index. We just switched from Preceptix Associate Engagement Survey over to Gallup and want to dive into that and create like a 3-tiered approach for our upper echelon leaders that have the high Manager Capability Index, what do we do for them, and getting them some extra development to continue excelling at that level. And then looking at the middle group and sending targeted development for them to move them from the middle up to the upper echelon, and then some remedial or basic development for the bottom percentile as well. So really looking to build out a program like that that has a 3-tiered approach for wherever they fall within that manager capability. The other thing that we're going to be doing is bringing some of our programs back in person. So we have a core program for our manager development. It's a 3-day series that's been virtual since COVID, and starting in April, it'll be coming back with in-person offerings, and a lot of excitement around that.
I'll go next, Alice. This is Melissa Reif Geyer. I'm at Cone Health in Greensboro, North Carolina. So CCL Shelley is in my backyard. So love them very much. So 3 areas I'll touch on is in this fiscal year, we're launching the Cone Health Leader Profile. That is our leader profile is built on people acumen, business acumen, and functional acumen. And it will be a large step getting us back to being a performance-based organization like we want to be, moving toward performance management again. So this is a full scorecard that a leader would rate themselves on and have a conversation with their one-up about. Second big thing for us is launching our Men of Color mentoring program, which has been in the works, and we are finally going to execute on that. We identified that men of color, based on the makeup of our community, men of color were underrepresented in our health system. And so looking at mentoring and how we bring more of those into our succession planning and leader pipeline, more of those gentlemen. And then finally, we really need to double down, I'll be honest with you, on physician engagement and leadership, and how we are bringing physicians into the fold when it comes to their leadership acumen, quite honestly. Many times we have elevated really great physicians and surgeons into leadership positions, and they don't have a really strong leadership background. And so looking, partnering with physician leaders across the enterprise to determine what's the best strategy to take there.
Thanks, Melissa. Julie, Julie, that sounds like a segue.
I'm like, oh. Hi, Melissa. I wanted to reach out to you because I'm the program director over physician leadership development here at Ohio Health. I'm in the middle of a complete revamp for the Physician Leadership Academy.
Okay.
We're going to be lifting off on a new series here on January 30th. So I'll just give you a really brief cliff notes of what this revamp is all about. When I first took over the Physician Leadership Academy many years ago, we were kind of trying to do like one size fits all. And as you know, with physicians, it's really hard to get results when you're trying to just appeal to the masses. And so Alice and Joe know I've been really hard at work over the last couple of years to finalize what we call a physician career framework. And what that's all about is identifying where are all the leadership positions for physicians across the system, and then how might we level those out. And then when you do that and you get to look at roles and responsibilities, we have our Ohio Health leadership competencies. So taking a look at where do those competencies fit into each of those levels. I've really been building out a curriculum for each of those physician career levels. And so we're going to be lifting off on a new series at the end of this month, specific to what we call our physician career level 5. And that's geared towards our clinical enterprise service line chiefs and our medical staff presidents. That's kind of all in that bucket, if you will. And then over the coming calendar year 24, we'll be lifting off on a series dedicated to our PH2s and 3s, our PH4s. And I'm happy to meet with you, Melissa, and talk more through that, or anybody else on the call that's interested in physician leadership and how we are trying to tackle this and see how it goes. It's going to be a huge experiment over this coming month or year. I'm looking forward to learning more about it and from our physicians as we move along. So a lot of work in the physician leadership space here at Ohio Health. And then Shelly, I also wanted to give a shout out to Cincinnati Children's because my son is a frequent flyer and has gotten nothing but the best care since he was 2.5 years old. He's got a rare disease and goes to the eosinophilic esophagitis disease center where they're #1 in the country for research, and have much love for Cincinnati Children's.
Well, thank you. We're glad that you and your family are having a great experience with us. I mean, that is part of, well, the work that I do, making sure that our employees have a great experience, so patients and families have great experiences. So thanks for that.
Julie, I'll definitely be in touch. Ask Alice if you want
Yeah.
there.
All right. Yes, I see your hand. Jump in there.
Hi, everybody. My name is Martina Bison Huckabee. I've been at previous meetings, but I work with Jess Bickley at UPMC, and specifically I'm dedicated to physician leadership development. So this is what you guys were talking about. And I actually presented at the conference and NCHL on the Physician Leadership Essentials program that was launched in 2020 after a pilot in 2019. So we have a few years of experience, and be happy to like chat with you guys and learn from each other. And also we use the word essentials as well, by the way, in the name of our program. And and so we also do a physician peer coaching program. So very focused on physician. And I was actually, this year we're looking into launching an initiative for women physicians, and was actually also interesting to hear if anybody else is focusing on women as well in the future. We see during COVID, there was there's been a few surveys done, and definitely we see how women physicians and women in general in the organization have taken kind of the brunt of a lot of the problems that during COVID, because sometimes they had the dual role of being at home with the kids and also being at work, and so we thought that it really needed to do a program to help with the connection, growth, and a sense of well-being for the women physicians.
Well, I will say, ironically enough, I have a meeting today at 3:00, meeting with our subcommittee of female physicians. We are going to be building out new programming specific to our female physicians as a part of one of our BRG groups, which is called We Lead. It's geared towards females, but then we have subgroups of that particular BRG, and one of those is the female physicians. We have done programming in the past where we've done a quarterly development series geared towards our female physicians. We've also done group coaching for our female physicians, and then we've kind of been on hold because we've had some leadership changes within that BRG. But I'm happy to also talk with you about that and let you know kind of how our discussion goes today. We're going to be brainstorming, and I'm happy to share what we come up with.
Thank you. That sounds wonderful. We did a focus group, one of the 2 focus groups yesterday with a group of women physician leaders, and so we can exchange notes.
Great. All right. Thank you.
I can go for Memorial.
Great.
So some of the initiatives we're working on over the next year, we are investigating opportunities to have some external supplement of our leadership development and colleague development. So we're a very small team trying to, diagnose, design, deliver all of the education for our leaders and colleagues. And so we're investigating some other platforms to use. We just went through a demo with Coursera, I think, earlier today, and looking at LinkedIn Learning. And if anybody else has suggestions, throw them my way too. Trying to find some supplemental information out there. Also looking at developing more of a talent management program. And so that's on the agenda or on the radar for the next few months that we're looking at. And then additionally, we have recently changed employee engagement vendors. So historically, we did an annual survey. It used to live in our human resources group, then fell into the organization development group, and we've just kind of held on to it. And so we're looking at and have just partnered with Qualtrics around employee engagement. And so our team is really focused on that and how do we help our leaders
look at how they use the data, how they engage with their colleagues around the data, and accountability moving forward. So that's three
Awesome.
big ones.
That's, yeah. What's in scope for your talent management work?
That's a good question. It's a project that I'm not currently heavily involved in. I think they're looking at some maybe 9-box grid development, as well as how do we develop kind of a mentoring program, a high potential program, things like that, because that's currently kind of a gap that we have in our organization, and in heavy partnership with our workforce development team and our colleague relations group as well.
Awesome.
I have not been brought in yet on that project. I'm in the background.
That sounds like a fun project.
Yeah.
I would be happy to talk to you guys about that.
Excellent. Alice Leafers is spearheading that. She's normally
Yeah.
on the call today, but she is actually attending a certification soon. So
Awesome.
So I'm happy to go next,
Great.
also jumping on the essentials train. So we used to be Leadership Essentials, and we pivoted and became Essentials of Leadership in 2023. So our program is actually was undergoing in 2023 and is continuing to undergo a lot of reconstruction, I guess, so to speak. So this year will be almost doubling in size in terms of topic offerings. We actually pivoted from a cohort model to an open enrollment model in 2023 because we're targeting such a large number of leaders. We have over 5,000 that fall just in the frontline leader category. And then when you consider the emerging leader population, it probably triples in size. So we, in 2023, spent a lot of time basically absorbing standalone leadership courses and bringing them into our program, and then getting rid of the redundant content and basically revamping for what's a level 2 style course, a deeper dive, more reflection and application based. So those are all rolling out this year. And then we also brought in something called peer learning circles. So that same concept that I know Shelley was discussing, this idea of more informal learning environment, but peer-to-peer learning instead of like a mentorship model. Again, just a continued chance for our participants to discuss real-time challenges and bounce feedback off of kind of other leaders in the organization. And then our big focus for this year, we have started utilizing in 2023 and are starting to look at the data from our 3-month post-course outcome surveys. So we're really trying to gauge kind of where the barriers are organizationally for behavior change, as well as identify opportunities for 2025 and beyond, because we're actually switching our LMS to identify opportunities where we might be able to get additional data from managers prior to the course and then follow up after. So we've got a lot in the works, but definitely focused on kind of that application and behavior change piece now that all of our content is being rolled out.
That sounds like a really heavy lift.
It was.
The past year's worth of work. I think that you may be in a small group who really understands how much is involved with what you did. So good job.
Yeah.
And
Thanks.
switching your LMS. I mean, just a little thing, right?
Yeah, no biggie.
Awesome.
I
Who
can go
else?
next. Sam and
Great,
I
okay.
work together, so it makes sense for me to build upon what she just presented about. So, hi everyone. For those of you I don't know, my name is Rachel Rosenblum. I'm the AVP of Learning and Organizational Development at Northwell Health. Work with Sam. So I think just to build on what Sam had spoken about, our overarching leadership development and learning, past, further from just beyond just leaders, where we're focusing for 24 is really alignment and impact. I don't know about anyone else here, but we can say that we are a mean, lean team for 24, hoping to, remedy that in the near future, but knowing that everyone is tight on resources. Even when we are fully staffed, we never feel fully staffed because there's just so much work that we want to accomplish, that we want to take on. The direction that our VP and I have really been trying to communicate and will continue to communicate across our learning and development team is really maybe don't try to do a million new things this year, but maybe we need to focus on impact and alignment. Like we have so much we already offer. So Sam talked about like eliminating redundancies. So that's one of the pieces. Like, so how do all the pieces fit together, and how are we guiding people through a development journey from we oversee beginning just as our new hire orientation, just as an example, all the way through executive leadership programs. So how are we creating this journey from day one to our high potentials and beyond high potentials, our executive in-role development, our physician in-role executive development there. So thinking about how do we tie all the pieces together? How do we eliminate redundancies? How do we make things complement each other? And then how can we really demonstrate organizational impact? So maybe not 100 new programs, but really getting back to basics and focusing on alignment and quality.
Love that, Rachel. Thanks. Robin.
So I'm Robin Betts. I'm the Director of Leadership Development with Intermountain Health. And this year, much like the rest of you, we truly are focusing on preparing leaders to be ready now at every level of the pipeline, aligned with the business needs. So is our full complement of classes, pathways, programs from emerging leaders up to executive development. Do we have alignment? Are we targeting the right things? We're working with our HR analytics team to help us truly identify where are the skills gaps. We're kind of shifting more to the skills first work. So there's a lot of lift is there. We also switched employee engagement surveys to Qualtrics. So we just went through 1 year of Qualtrics. We are enjoying them. You know, we've been with Press Ganey, then we were with Gallup before. So Qualtrics has been a really great resource for us and our focus. So we just completed the elements of merging and focusing now on optimization, which there's still a lot of dust that needs to settle. Any of y'all who have experienced mergers or acquisitions. And so our focus really is on how are we targeting leadership skills that move business needles, change management, AI is looming. How do we stay ahead in the future? What are not only the skills our leaders need now, but what are the future skills they're going to need to be upskilled to? And so trying to get a handle on all of that data so we can be moving everyone in the right directions. We do have a women in leadership program that does include physicians, and we do have a lot of emphasis with physicians, and we have a whole new service line within leader development in clinical leadership development, where we're standing up a targeted medical director program this year to help those interested in being a medical director, as well as those who are just stepping into that role, to truly be prepared, ready, and become more ready now for future leadership roles. We also are piloting a nurse leadership academy that will be upskilling over the next couple of years, that eventually we will be selling to any healthcare organization who are interested in upskilling their nurses. So we're working very hard with our nurse. Our nurse population is a third out of our 65,000 caregivers. 25,000 are nurses, and so we're really targeting efforts in upskilling our nurses and their leadership roles this year as well. We're expanding our coaching and mentoring services into sponsorship services as well. So we're doing more training around sponsorship, and we have this great pipeline, yet we do have a gap in that next level leaders. So we have emerging leaders with Discover Leadership, then we have a director level and a host of executive leadership. But how do we get supervisors and managers ready for the director level role? So we're standing up a program there. So if any of y'all have really great programs that you feel really serve that manager level, wanting to develop into director, I would love to connect with you. with that as well. So just a few things going on at Intermountain Health.
Just a few. Let's see. Anybody, we've got a couple people who we haven't heard from yet. I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but would love to hear what are the big priorities for you?
I can go if that's
great.
Okay.
Becky.
I'm Becky Dysart. I'm the interim director for enterprise learning, and fairly new to this role. Been at UK for about a year, but this is my first venture into the healthcare side. Working with a team, we have revised our leadership programs that are existing, but in that process, they realized that we were missing. We have a New Leader Academy, which is, I won't say required, but highly encouraged for people that are in new leadership roles. And there's a gap for ongoing people that are still kind of newer to leadership. So we have a Leadership Grow program that is about 8 months and tries to continue on what they learned in our New Leader Academy. We have a Leadership Excel program, and that's a revised program. And what we've done with that is refresh some of the programs to try to make the learning more relevant to challenges that people deal with in the healthcare environment. And then Leadership Advance, which was our talent management program. With this would be more senior leadership and preparing people for those roles with coaching and coursework and interaction. So that's kind of what we've been working on. And actually this summer, well, in October, we have moved our last program to everything is in person now. So that was a big jump. So.
Great, thank you.
I can share a little. Hey, everybody. Just in line with that, many of the focuses that you've all talked about this year, but something that is a little bit different, maybe ties back to some of what you were sharing, Robin, is this focus on skills. And I'm not sure if anyone else are Oracle Cloud users, but one of the things that we are going to be doing in the coming months is piloting Oracle Grow as part of that cloud product that is really going to allow us to leverage AI. So we're doing a bunch of work in the coming months of, our compensation folks looking at job profiles and alignment with skills. Us from an L&D perspective, looking at learning, we are LinkedIn Learning users, so I can't recall who is exploring some of those options, but that is something that we use to supplement overall offerings, and pulling that in, that full portfolio in, allowing the skills connection to be there, but really wanting to have this more customized experience for each individual user who will be able to, like on LinkedIn, self-identify some of those skills with the connection of AI kind of helping to serve up, ability to kind of rate proficiency in that, managers' ability to do that for their teams, and then related learning that is going to be served up to them that is both going to come from LinkedIn Learning and from our own internal courses. And so we're excited to see. Also, I think, I don't know about all of you, but I think we recognize, of course, the value of the work that we do in reskilling and upskilling our workforce. But I'm feeling a little bit more of that recognition that I think we've been so focused on recruitment efforts of trying to manage our staffing challenges. And I think there's a bit more realization of, we can't just recruit forever. How do we really invest in our workforce to ensure that we are developing them for what's next, to give them that connection and engagement too, that really kind of hook And so excited to see some of this come. And our opportunity is that we're first going to pilot it with our own HR team, which is made up of almost 700 individuals today. And so we thought, who better to start with that also has connection across the organization before we potentially scale it a little bit more broadly. And so I'm happy to keep everyone posted with sort of how our efforts go. I can't imagine that some of these opportunities aren't going to be available within the other HCM products that each of you use, and would be curious if any of you are taking some of these steps currently or have been on this journey. If you want to connect, very open to that, and of course to share our learnings along the way, but just something that is coming in a little bit more into our focus this year. And I think overall that career development realm that continues to really be top of mind, I think, for many employees and leaders in what they want for their own fulfillment. So just wanted to share a little bit about that in our world this year.
Awesome. Career development is such a tough one to tackle too, because it's kind of everybody's, and so not necessarily any one person. Yeah.
That's it. No one really says like, it's mine, I want to own it. Right. So truly, it's an opportunity, I think, though, and excited about it, but glad to hear that validation too. It's not just me, that everyone's kind of looking at each other.
Yeah. I mean, that's my experience is every year we're like, somebody should really be on career development.
Who's that going to be?
Yeah, so that'll be bubbling up for us this year too. It's so I would be interested in connecting about that. Yeah, not you, Joe. Let's see. Joanna, do you want to get in here? Or Karen? Joe.
I'd be happy to share. Sure. Cornerstone, sorry.
Oh, that was poor facilitation. I should not have called on both of you. I was just thinking I had a 50-50 chance. So Joanna, you look like you're still off mute. So let's go with you first and then we'll
Yeah,
go.
sure. It's nice to be invited and listening to all of your challenges and goals as the year comes up. We're from Cornerstone, so I don't know how many of you, I'm hearing a lot of things about skill development and career development and executive leadership. And I hope that I'm not being too forward in suggesting connecting with us regarding our Opportunity Marketplace, which just launched last year and is part of our LXP platform, and a wonderful way to incorporate in an AI-driven modality that type of experience for your employees that's really driven by the individual. An Opportunity Marketplace in particular has some wonderful ways of connecting and building community in your organizations with opportunities for not only connecting people to roles that might be of interest to them, but the skills needed and mentorship connections as well. So if anybody is of interest, I'm certainly here, or my colleagues who work with your hospitals in particular. I'm sure most of you know who your Cornerstone people are, but if you don't, feel free to connect with me in the chat or after, and I will tell you more.
Awesome. Karen.
Hi, everyone. So it's great to hear all the great work and the synergies and have that common thread that we all have, being sort of new to this conversation. So where I am now is, I think, my 5th day. So I'm still kind of getting my feet wet, but we have a lot of initiatives that are similar to what all of you shared. We have career tracks are definitely on the plate for 2024. We have a leadership development program that was one that's sort of virtual, been offered to the whole organization, and we've been continuing to build and facilitate. So it's that whole fly the plane as you're building it that we're still in. That's different cohorts, so that we've had a lot of great momentum and a lot of success with that to be able to scale leadership training. And Talent reviews are another one that we have on the docket for 2024 to I think what we're looking at is more of a 5-box. There were some pilots that were done prior to me coming on board that I'm excited to kind of learn a little bit more about and see. I think that we, as an organization, with that and with performance reviews and with our new leader orientation, I think our theme is to simplify. So we have a lot of things that we're doing, but we all know how busy everybody is. And when you're also building things that have not been in existence, which is a little bit where we're at, kind of bite-sized, being able to introduce people to some of these philosophies, or maybe they had been done before but got dropped off, you know, how sort of those transitions happen. So a lot of really exciting work, but would, you know, really love from this group how to scale, but also how to, you know, manage what we're giving people. And you know they're hungry for it, but at the same time really making sure that as a small and mighty team, as many of us are, that we're not over selling what we can really do in you know in a year and beyond, and tying it to the strategy. We're rolling out a new strategy, so we have that sort of in the background as well. So a lot of really exciting work and a great team, a really high performing team. So that's always a bonus as well. But yeah, a lot of commonalities with all of you on the call. So just delighted to be here with you today.
Awesome. I'm actually kind of jealous to hear you say that you're building things for the first time in a simple way, because one of the things that we're focusing on this year is taking our complicated things and making them simpler when the organization is used to and expects the complexity. So we are like simple, one page, everything. If you can't put it on one page, don't do it. But that's like a little bit of just paring back when people are like, but I love my 92 competencies.
Yeah, we're not exempt from that, but it's yeah, a lot of people have, you know, a lot of opinions, a lot of siloed work, and but to keep that theme, I think, you know, is, you know, where you see success, because then people can really adopt it and really, you know, have it really truly ingrained in a culture. So yeah, we'll keep each other accountable to simple.
Yeah. Good. All right. And Alicia, you joined us a little bit late, but we were just sharing what's hot for 2024 for you, what is new. So if you would like to join, I think at that point, unless I missed somebody, if I missed you, raise your hand, but otherwise bring us home.
Yeah, sure. So what's new, or not what's new, but what we're building. We're in the building phase as well. I've been sharing, we're actually I've had a talk. We've been doing I've been doing interviews like all week. So I have my talk track right now of kind of what we're doing and what our priorities and initiatives are. So right now we are focused on really building a foundation. I kind of tease and say we're somewhat feeling like a startup, where we're trying to ensure that we have the foundational pieces to build upon, so that we can truly hit our stride and get some traction and momentum. And so we're focusing on first just adopting a philosophy around leadership. We have some other entities in our institution who offer leadership development to their areas. However, the institutional philosophy around what leadership is and what it can do, what it should be able to do for our institution. We want to have one message, one unified collective message around that. And so we're wanting to adopt a philosophy that we discovered through an external vendor that we're looking at bringing on. And we want to be able to align with that, because we think it will help again, with that foundation. The second thing is very simple, but defining what a leader is. Like, who is a leader in our institution. So we're looking at baseline. If you are responsible for another person's performance and development, then at baseline, you should be equipped with the skills, the necessary skills to be a great leader. And we're here to do that and help you do that. And so that is where we're starting. We understand that that might be an evolving definition because we know leadership comes in all shapes and sizes. And we also know that leadership is not a one size fits all. So we want to make sure that as we evolve that definition. But that's a baseline where we're starting at bare minimum. The third thing is competencies. I just heard somebody talk about competencies, and we're wanting to conduct a scientific validation around a competency model and really identify the competencies that are needed for our leaders to thrive and take us to our 2033 aspiration, and help us pursue our potential together. So that is my talk track. Give me a thumbs up if I need to change it, or
that was good.
But
no, yes.
But that's what I've been telling our individuals interested in joining our team, but also kind of what I've been sharing with the broader organization, and that's my elevator pitch is at least what I've been using. But overall, we're looking to elevate, scale, and accelerate leadership development. So that's our goal, and that's where we're headed. What questions do you have?
I'm inspired. That was great. Clear, concise, on brand. I'm buying it.
Awesome. Thanks, Alice. And It's good to see you again.
Good to see you too. Okay, well, we have just about 8 minutes left, and I feel good about it. We know what each other are working on. I think most of us found 1 or 2 points of connection. Would encourage you to actually reach out and act on that after. I also heard a couple of things that we probably should consider putting on our map for the year. Jen, you're nodding. I'm thinking we're thinking the same things, but definitely heard enough to make me think we should probably dedicate one of our sessions to looking at a couple of people's physician leadership models. So if you're in that space or have a colleague who is, think about considering whether you might want to present for a little bit. And if you haven't seen us do those, they're kind of mini presentations, think 10 or 15 minutes, and we'll share 2 or 3 people's, just because it's really nice to see more than one at a time, and to be able to then have a little bit of time for discussion. I also heard a couple on career development, a couple on the evaluation of talent review, 9 bucks, 5 bucks, etc. So there may be some pockets that we could consider sharing some work around. And then Melissa.
I don't want to interrupt your train of thought. Keep going.
That's okay. Joe also just put something in the chat, so it's gone.
I would love, and this may or may not be appropriate. So I will tell you, it is right in our face right now because we're just getting our engagement survey results for both the provider and the employee side. And you can tell we're short time with our current vendor because of how we're being treated. So I would love to explore not just vendors, but how others are using their results as a part of leadership development and how they're integrating things. That may be too broad, or it might not be of interest to everyone, but I heard Perceptix brought up, Qualtrics brought up, Press Ganey brought up. I heard a lot of different vendors brought up, and I would be curious how we're all using that information, or are we?
Great one, Melissa. I think a lot of us here would be interested in that. And Joe, poor beleaguered Joe, who I constantly badger about outcomes, is saying, can we get a presentation from someone who's mastered measuring outcomes? And I see lots of thumbs ups on that. So again, would love, that looks like we've got a lot of interest in that. So Jen, these are some things that Jen and I can work on, filling out the rest of the calendar for the year. And again, any of you who feel like you might be able to present on one of those topics, you could just send us over an email and we can plop that in. If not, we may still ask you to do it. So you can volunteer or wait to be asked. Either way, you're probably talking to us. Okay, yeah, thanks, Rachel. Love this. And we will follow up Jen will follow up with probably an email to just kind of capture, this is what we think we heard, what did we not get a chance to put on the list yet because the conversation went quickly. The other thing that we might catch, try to catch you on in the email is, as some of you know, we've been batting around this idea of a shared resource hub. Given how lean and mean our teams are, a lot of us are building things that we might have bought in the past and are curious where we might be able to help each other by sharing some resources. So there's, every time we talk about this, there's a ton of interest, but we probably need to start getting a little bit more granular and specific to get to the point where this is useful. So let's see if we can challenge ourselves to actually put some words down about how your team would use this and what would be useful to you. And then we can bring back something with a little bit more shape and structure for the group to react to. So Happy New Year, happy January. I hope you are doing well with all of the things that you said in December felt like a January problem. And awesome to start the year off strong together with this group, and really excited about everything that we'll accomplish over the next 12 months together. So with that, we'll say goodbye, see you in February, and look forward to hearing from you. Bye, everyone.
Great meeting.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.